I'm Marty Dolan. I was a candidate in the Democratic primary for the position of public advocate, where I got 90,000 votes. And I'm now a candidate on the Unity Party ballot line for public advocate in the November 4th election.
Hello, my name is Irene Estrada. I am the conservative nominee for mayor candidate 2025. My prior experience is the 80th district leader in the Democrat Party and clergy for the city. I'm also a liaison and a busy woman when it comes to our youth and our elders in our communities.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you. My name is Gonzalo Duran. I am a public advocate for New York City under the United Alliance Party. I'm also on the battle line for the Republicans and the Conservative Party. I am also the vice chairman for the Bronx Conservative Party, district leader for the 79th Assembly District. On my day-to-day, I am the nonprofit for Devil Dog USA Incorporated. And on my spare time, I mentor at-risk teens. Thank you. I'm sorry, can you say that again? Well, what I mentioned in the beginning, that I'm the vice chairman for the Bronx Conservative Party.
Yeah, I'm Mike Sombluskas. I'm not running this year. I've run many times, but I've been involved in politics since 1992, the first Ross Perot campaign. I was part of the National Reform Party, the Independence Party of New York. Right now, I'm a Republican. I've helped anywhere between 300 to 400 candidates. I've run myself about 10 times. And I'm a student of politics. Oh, yes, there's been a number of third-party candidates winning, but usually it was special elections, not general elections. The Workers' Family Party has won a number of races through the years, especially in Brooklyn. The Independence Party has won races as a special election up in the Bronx for a state assembly seat, and they also won one out on Staten Island. Now, upstate New York, there's the third parties have a much better record, especially the Conservative and Independence Party. A lot of the smaller towns, we actually still have Conservative and Independence Party people elected, even though the Independence Party is gone. But that's a different story.
So for me, oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I thought you said Marty. If it's Mike, then go ahead.
No, I'm not right, Mark. I was going to ask a question, but that's a
You don't
different
know
story.
if you're a Democrat and you don't know your right from your left, you're got a problem. Let me jump in because unfortunately, the reason I'm called away is that I've got an impending death in my family.
Oh, sorry to
And
hear that.
The
My
cause
condolences.
for the death is a really tiny little thing in the human body that just doesn't work the way it should anymore. And we've all had family where that happens. And that's my lesson. That's what I'm trying to talk about politically, which is that really politics in a complex city like New York is a complex design. All the little pieces go together. And when you change one piece, you get a kind of chain reaction through the system. And I think what's happened in New York over the last decades is that we've created a culture of dependency. Now, the culture of dependency sounds like it's a pretty broad term, but it's just like taking a drink when you're 21 or 22. If you keep taking drinks your whole life, eventually your liver gives out or your kidney gives out or you come to a bad end. And I want to say just one, there's a good example today. There's a woman no longer with us in North Carolina named Irina Zarutska. Now, Irina Zarutska was riding on the light rail. She had escaped from the Ukraine and she came to North Carolina to be safe as a refugee from war. And then a guy got up behind her and stabbed her 14 times in the neck. And he had been released from jail 14 times. So, this is a chain of events that happens when you create a culture of dependency and you loosen the glue that holds a society together. So for me, I think that's absolutely the core issue, which is that we need to reestablish the rules of our society around the key issues of hard work, law and order, and go back to basics instead of continuing to expand in what I think is a really bad direction for the city, for the Democratic Party, and for the United States. So my policies attack directly the culture of dependency because we're talking about, we'll get into that later. Yep. Thank you.
Can I ask a question real quick for both the public advocate candidates? Because the public advocate candidates, how some people say it's a limited office. How can you advance your policies as a public advocate besides just the bully pulpit?
I'm going to let Gonzalo go first because I talked a lot there, and then I'll take second turn, Gonzalo, if that's okay with you.
Yes, that's fine with me. Thank you, Marty. I appreciate that. Well, if you look back at situations and the work that I've done in the past, let's say the Conservative Party in the Bronx, but 2 years ago, it was pretty much non-existent. There was very little activity being done, candidates, work efforts, media, all of it together. Having strong leadership makes a big difference. Right now, the public advocacy really isn't that utilized more than just a placeholder for a higher position or just to get some notoriety out of, here and there media. If you have the right person in it, as you can see for the Bronx Conservative Party, in the last 2 years, we've put in more candidates than almost filling up our legislative positions. We've increased our party line borough-wide by over 30%. We've had a media surge that's remarkable. And just to give you an example of that level of work ethic, the Conservative Party in the Bronx is the only one in the city under the Conservative Party that has any candidates in the multiple. and the ones that are outside of the Bronx are work hand in hand with us right now. So I believe if you utilize the position the right way, you build up a foundation, you have involvement, civic engagement with the community members, and real civic engagement and community, all, you intertwine it all together, it could be utilized in the right way, but you need the right leader to be there. Thank you.
So I'd make 2 points. I agree with a lot of what Gonzalo has said. I think, you know, what the city council lacks, there's 51 members of the city council. They're like the gas pedal on a car. They're pushing for more, but it's like a car that doesn't have a brake pedal. And I have more financial services experience than all 51 of the city council members combined. And the reason that matters is because it's a $115 billion budget. And by comparison, Philadelphia's budget is $3.5 billion. So that's what happens when you have 51 people spending money. So I think the public advocate role would be very important there. And then the second thing is, I think the best public advocate we ever had wasn't a public advocate. It was a guy named Dan Doctoroff. And you might say, who the heck is Dan Doctoroff? Well, if you go to the Barclays Center, you go to the World Trade Center, you go to the High Line, you look at all the very significant infrastructure improvements in New York City. That came from, a lot of that came from Dan Doctoroff, who was the deputy mayor for economic development. And I think that's that's one of the roles of the public advocate, which is to develop the economy of New York City so that everybody has more potential jobs, more opportunities, better infrastructure to get around.
Okay, let me add something. One of the things, one of the things both of you missed is if you read the charter, the public advocate has a seat on every city council committee.
Yep.
You can use the city council committees to push your agenda, and they can't stop you because it is legal. So you can bring up those issues. You can try to go through the city council, depending on who the next speaker and everything is going to be, and what power to get subpoena power for the stuff you need. So read the charter. There's things in there the public advocate can do that no public advocate since the position was done has accomplished or even tried.
DJ, I just want to interject. If there's one role in the city that's not supposed to be partisan, it is the public advocate. You're supposed to represent the people of New York City. And I would make the case, this is the reason I'm not endorsing anyone for mayor or not endorsing anyone for other positions, is you're there to serve the people. And so it's not a surprise to me that that position is going to be not favored by the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. You're there to build support for what's good for the people.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Like Ed's saying, I'm Joshua Hadley. I was elected to serve on Kotzebue City Council. I didn't know if I would be here per se because whenever I'm down in I call it the lower 48, the real United States, I go to a city, I always feel like I'm in a different world, but I can only speak as a elected official and how different it has been for me to serve in an office rather than be an activist. One thing I wanted to point out really quick, Ed, I hear your audio perfectly here, but it's not coming off on YouTube for some reason. Yeah, and see, I'd have to check.
Do you want to get back to the original question?
Yeah, up in Riverdale. Sure. I mean, meetings are always a good idea. And then one of the best things that New York State has ever done, and one of the things that I draw out to your attention is create the SUNY system. Now, what the SUNY system does is it takes people and gives them in-state tuitions that are a lot lower than people from out of state. And they basically take people who are, let's just call them normal people. Yes to a meeting with SUNY. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
There she is.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you. I couldn't get, they talk about different things, so tell me exactly. Yeah. Public meeting? Okay.
Yeah.
If the topics to be discussed are the topics that are pressing issues affecting all New Yorkers, yes, I agree. Yeah, I'm on it. I support that. Yes.
The answer, the answer, the answer is yes.
Oh.
Anything that
What you
helps,
said?
any,
Hello?
Anything that helps level
I
out the
lost you
service.
somehow. Is it from me?
Absolutely. When it comes to the
Hello? I can't hear you.
Yes.
mine would be yes.
Uh,
Yes, sir. Thank you. We spoke a little bit about it. We spoke about it some few different. Uh, yes.
Yes, like we mentioned before, that's something I would support. Okay, okay, no problem.
I would, because you need public confidence in the criminal justice system.
Which case is this?
Yep.
Well, absolutely. I believe that that everybody not only deserves a second chance, but we also need to get to the bottom of the truth. Because what happens is that many times, even before an election, a lot of these issues and causes are under the rug. And then after the election is over, you want to try to resurrect it. So I think we have an accountability as politicians or elected officials to take a look at everything and make sure that the people in the city are getting the truth.
Absolutely. No problem.
I've got to go in the next 5 to 10 minutes. That's right.
Absolutely. And if I could say really quick, it's sad that this is the thing that haunts me over raising utility rates. That just eventual thing in the Green Party will always be more controversial than raising utility bills.
Yes.
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 Thank you for inviting me, and I'm happy to talk further another time, but I've got to get to the airport to go take care of my sister's family.
All right. My condolences.
Thanks.
My advice for working with them, um, as a third party candidate, thankfully, like I'm in Alaska, so whenever there's a local election, we don't have our party affiliated, listed. But it's very different for you guys in New York. I will admit that. Working with them, I feel like we can't be too dogmatic, though. There's certain areas where we just can't compromise, like the environment or justice. As thankfully, I'm grateful that I'm almost like on the other side of the world, so I'm grateful for Otis. Like, you're still trying to seek justice and seek public meetings. If I could ask a question, I guess, I was looking at the turnout for the New York City mayoral race, and it seems to be about 25%. I won my election with a turnout of 16%. It just seems I get very frustrated when people could win like a third or a quarter of the vote in their races, and they say they have a mandate to do whatever they please. Well, in reality, like, most people, like, just not being a registered voter sort of like keeps you out of the conversation, if that's all it boils down to. I'm just curious, when you get into office, what's your plan to increase democracy? Issue I have, like, going to the city council meetings is we will always have a great turnout, and people, the citizenry of Kotzebue especially, but I imagine in New York, don't know really Robert's Rules of Order, and if they could go to a council meeting, they're probably intimidated by it. What are ways do you guys see that would be a way that we could better democracy and increase participation? Because we don't want to just say, oh, we got 10% of the voters, so we have a mandate. What's the answer to this conundrum?
The way you're going to get people more involved in government and in policies and participation is keeping your word as an elected official, community leader, clergy, or any position and title that we hold in the city. When it comes to bringing all the issues and policies, it's not only about listening to them and saying, well, we're going to take care of your problem, but let us find a solution. Let them be a part of the table where they can be there while the solution is being confronted. Many times people say, well, the politicians don't listen to us. And they're absolutely right, because they've already been elected. You have to make them accountable. When they don't listen and pick up your phone calls, then you have to protest and rally in front of their offices. You have to follow them like a little wagging little dog after them until you get what you want. And the reason I say that is that I've been an activist in the city since 1982, working with so many elected officials in different parties, even presidential elections. And as an activist and clergy, I can tell you that I observed and I became very active because I wanted to know why things are not working in my community. Why do we not have community centers since 1982? Why is the crime so high? Why are children educated and being passed to the fourth grade if the reading level is at a second grade? Why do we have, working with the Board of Education, you learn that there is so much opportunity, but at the same time, we also know that there's a lot of blockage. We need to go ahead and unblock everything that is keeping us from moving forward. And sometimes it's the very elected officials who are the stumbling block because of not only about where they stand in our policies. For example, the bail reform. Yes, we want crime to go away, but with the bail reform, people are going to get a smack in the hand and say, okay, we'll go do it again 50 or 100 more times before you're going to get convicted. And this is a responsibility not only for the police department, but it comes from the elected officials who voted on this. State, federal, and senators, the state assembly are accountable. If we don't hold them accountable, this continues to happen. We have 51 members in city council, and I've worked with all of them. Only 61 might listen to the causes of pro-cop, but the majority of them are anti-cop, socialist, and anti-Semitism. So we have an issue that we're dealing with a breed of people who believe that terrorizing and targeting people is the way to keep them in office longer. So my solution is that, yes, the people have to come to the table, number one. Number two, how it affects your community is going to depend on what do you want to do about your community. Because you see, if you wait for government to come and save you, government is not going to come to save you. It's not going to come to save your community, your people, it doesn't matter what culture. Because see, in America, it's not about being a Democrat, Republican, or a conservative. It's about being a part of the human race. We have an accountability to all of us. We breathe the same color. And we have an accountability to know that the knowledge that I contain, that you contain, is there for them to also obtain, but it also means that they have to participate. I will share with you that my two daughters are police officers. One is a sergeant, the other one is retired detective. Her husband is also a retired detective. I am the clergy for the Police Women Endowment Association, which is the spiritual advisor to the police women. My two grandchildren are on the job. So when I have raised everybody in my house to be police officers, it's not that as a single parent in New York City, being Latina, being Mexican American, and you say, oh my God, there's so many things against you. No, everything is obtainable. The Bible says everything is reachable. All you have to do is go and get it. So the thing is, as a grandmother to two officers, a mother to two officers, and I'm the spiritual advisor to the police women in the city NYPD, that means that we have an accountability to protect those who protect us. And if the laws are not there to protect them, how can we go ahead and protect our city? Our quality of life is down the drain. Because if you don't have public safety, you have dirty trains, nobody cares, people are getting slashed. And I'm tired of going to funerals. I'm tired of going to vigils. I just went to a vigil. In the last 7 days, I've had 2 vigils. 2, I have been constantly with parents, speaking to the parents who have children in the hospitals with gunshot wounds. The young lady that got shot in the face, her name is Antonella Campbell. She's still in the hospital. I've been ministering to her mother. And this is a continuous cycle that we continue to have. But this goes even way back before Junior had got killed in the Bronx, because his mother is also another woman that I minister to. We cannot be saying, Mother, I am sorry. Let us pray. Let us continue to go ahead and have vigils and let the balloons go up in the air. As this continues to happen, it's not acceptable. And the accountability goes back to city council. Every single elected official has to be accountable. State Assembly voted for this. Jamal Bailey, he wrote the bill, because I ran against him for senator last year. And the reason I ran against him, again, they have no protection, so how can they protect the city? So I agree 100% that if we participate and make other people aware that you have the empowerment to do so, people are waking up and they're finding a solution. And to get them to get out the vote and to come and participate is to see a different face on the ballot, to see you on the ballot, because they're tired of seeing the same stuff going around in circles and nothing is getting done. So now, because of the Conservative Party picking me up, and because we have a lot of independent people running, it shows you that people are tired and we're doing something about it. Because when you're 10 years, 5 years from now, you're going to say to yourself, what did I do to change this? My children are not going to look at their mother and their grandmother. Go ahead. Thank you. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
I want to, I want to, I want to answer the question, Irene. I just want to say thank you so much for that. My stepmom, she's actually one of the first woman SWAT team members up in Schenectady PD. She's also Mexican herself, so I totally understand where you're coming from. I was just at one police plaza during the past week, speaking to a few people, and they were speaking on mental health. Mental health's very big, so I appreciate all that you do. To answer your question now, DJL, first off, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to you for doing this, for getting the word out. I want to be quick and I want to be fast. I did an article. It's called Bold Vision, Real Experience, Local Solution. So BRLVES, it's science-rooted model that I created for firsthand experiences. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you what the problems are, but once you really experience the problem yourself and you see it firsthand what's going on, truly you can learn how to fix it. You can come up with ideas and solutions how to fix these certain issues. But if you just come in the door and people are telling you it's this problem without doing your canvas and without reaching out to the locals, and actually seeing what the real problems are, I think that's how we're going to be able to really fix our city that we live in, and really get out there, speak to everybody. And someone was mentioning being nonpartisan, which I think if you really want to do politics in this big city with so many different kind of people from all walks of life, I think you need to be nonpartisan. Me, myself, I ended up becoming really nonpartisan because I hear all the problems. I live here in Bell Harbor. However, I grew up in East New York. I know what the struggle is. I know what it's like to see brain matter on the floor. And I always mention that because that scared the mess out of me when I in my youth. And I was on my way to work. I was working in telecommunications at the time. My girlfriend was there, you know, whatever. I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I'm living life. I'm happy. Everything's great. And boom, I see brain matter on the floor, and it messed me up. So boom, what we also have is we have traumas coming from these neighborhoods, from these people, and they need mental health resources. A lot of people who live in low-income areas go through low-income trauma, you know, be it that our high-income have trauma as well. You know, maybe somebody went bankrupt. Maybe they found out their dad was a part of RICO. Who knows? But that's a trauma for somebody who has big money. Let's think of it in that sense. But we are all being affected by traumatic solutions. And from those traumatic solutions, it's up to government to provide the resources to make sure this person can be a prosperous person, and maybe even talk about it and be a leader in the community to speak on this issue. So that's me. Thank you. Yes. Yes, that question.
Now you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, so there's two things that I'm looking to do. First thing is we're spending our resources kind of like throwing dollars out of a helicopter all across New York City. I would prefer that we focus more resources on our younger people, because I think if you can grow, just make it simple, a good 26-year-old instead of a not such good 26-year-old, you get the benefits of that for the next 50 years. And so I've come up with a program which is that you get a 100% rebate on all the taxes that are deducted from your paycheck on your 26th birthday. The idea is that, this comes from my time when I was working as a gardener. And what you have to do is you have to put the water on the young trees, not the old trees. If you go down any street in New York, you'll see these trees that are there that are not only they're not getting cared, they're getting abused. But when you plant a young tree, like we have a lot of young people in New York, you got to make sure that they get off to a good start. And so what I'm saying is that when you work at McDonald's when you're 15, and they, you earned $200, and then they take out $70 from your paycheck, I'm going to give you back on your 26th birthday all of those $70. It's going to be like an IRA, but you get it on your 26th birthday. But there's three conditions. One is you have to have filed your taxes. The second one is you have to not be in jail. And the third thing is you have to have voted. Because if we can get somebody when they're 26 years old, and let's say they've got $25,000 that they're working for as a target, right? That's kind of the number that you could get to if you do this program. We would cap it. We don't need to help out the kids who are working on Wall Street, so we would put a cap on it. It might be $25,000 to $50,000, and we got to make young people more connected to the city. The expression I use, everybody says, "I love New York." But we got to show the young people that we love them. And then the second thing that this is more far-reaching is when you look at New York City, it's disorganized as a political functioning machine. You have 51 city council districts, 58 community boards, and about 77 police precincts, but they don't share the same borders, and the community boards are not elected. They're basically appointed by the borough president, although they get nominees from the local representatives. I think it'd be much better for the city in terms of attaining the consent of the governed if you had, let's just pick a number, 65 city council seats, community boards, and police precincts. And then at the community board level, you have a much higher percentage of community board members who are elected locally. Because then basically you're dividing New York up into 65 villages, for lack of a better word, where you're really going to have accountability between the local people there and the voters, which is what you want. Right now, if you go to a community board meeting, you might have 3 different city council members, or if you talk to a city council member, they might have 3 different community boards that they have to go to. So that's a tougher one, but the simplest thing we can do is make it clear to young people their incentive is to get off to a good start. That's our incentive too, because a young person who's working at age 26, who is paying his taxes, is voting, that's like gold dust for New York City, because that person is probably going to be okay for the next 50 years. But if you have somebody when they're 26 and they're not off to a good start, well, then you have to have all the programs later on to fix them. And, you got to plant the young trees the right way. That's, for me, the number one thing.
Do you hear me now? Okay, great. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak. For those who don't know me, I'm a Republican running for mayor of New York City. Right now, I'm running as an independent in the general elections and the writing candidate. The reason why I'm running, I came to New York 25 years ago as a foreigner to work for the United Nations. To the world, New York City is the best or the most famous or the most metropolitan or the most crowded and the most modern city in the world and the most educated as well. Unfortunately, after quarter century, 25 years, I am now as an American citizen, I realize that there is none of that. Right now, cleanliness is the first thing we have to start with. I haven't seen any candidate talking about being clean. When we move to a house to live in, it has to be clean for us to be healthy, to live as human beings. We have one of the dirtiest cities in the world. This is one. In terms of education, I don't think we have a good education. The education system has to be restructured from scratch. We don't have a good police and we don't have a good judicial system. As to corrupt a nation or a society or a city, you just have to do three things. Leave people uneducated, either illiterate or educated in a very low level, corrupt the police and corrupt the courts. And that's exactly what we have in New York City. We are missing a plan, a work plan, a mandate, a system. There is no system. When a New Yorker, me included, you have a problem, you have an issue, you don't know where to go, you don't know whom to talk to. I just heard my colleagues talking in this meeting, yeah, we have city councils, we have assembly members, city council members, we have assembly members, we have people who are responsible for this district, but nobody knows who is who, where to go. We are missing a system, we are missing a work plan, we are missing an outreach. And also there are too many agencies and neither agency has a plan on how to do the job. So we have a public housing. Public housing is a big issue. If we don't have a house, you can't get educated, you can't live, you can't eat, you can't sleep. If you do none of these, you can't live as a human being. You can't even progress in your life. So how many buildings we have as affordable housing? When were they established, this affordable housing system? A long time ago, maybe 50 years ago, maybe more. So nobody has done anything. There is no investigation, no inspection, no control. We miss the control in New York City. So all what we have to start with, should I be sitting as a mayor in New York City, I'll make sure I relate with everybody, whoever is responsible of something, make sure we have a plan. The city is structured. It is very well structured. We have
Can I jump in? One of the things, Josh's question was, how do we raise the voter turnout? One of the big things is we've been lied to. We keep on telling people it's a right to vote. That's wrong. It's our responsibility to vote. And we need to re-educate the people to say that. We need to start in elementary school, junior high school, and get more kids involved right there. We need to actually go to the public and say, if you don't like what's going on, it's your fault because you didn't show up to vote, or if you did, you keep voting for the same people. What did Einstein say? If you do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, you're insane. And that's the whole thing. And we need to start holding the public responsible for bad government. Get them to start coming out and actually paying attention and voting for people. That's how the third parties are going to get more traction. And I've done that in some of my candidacies when I've run. I've actually said, no, if you don't like what's going on, but you keep on voting for the same person over, you think you're going to get a different result? They're the ones that voted these stupid policies in. That's the biggest thing.
Plan. So thank you.
Yep. Yep.
I got disconnected when I was in the middle of my discussion. I got disconnected somehow. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, it might have been your internet or something. You froze while speaking. Me. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to address that because a lot of that is talk, but it's just talk. What I'm saying with my plan is, if you're a young person, from the age of 12 or 13, when you start working, we're going to take your taxes and put them in an account. And then when you're 26, you get that all back, but you only get that back if you vote. So I haven't heard of anybody mentioning an incentive system as good as that. What I'm saying is that when you're 25, you're going to get $25,000, but you have to have voted in every election. So without an incentive system, you can talk all you want about, telling people to vote, but nothing's going to change. And it's a free world. People, unless you make voting compulsory, you're just talking. But what my proposal does is we create a new habit for the city, which is that if you vote, you get a huge tax incentive. Okay.
I get disconnected every time I try to speak. Do you hear me? I'm so sorry. Now you hear me. I'm sorry. Every time, this is the second time. I don't know what's going on. My connection now is good. Can I finish what I was telling you, if it's possible? So when I was talking about public housing, as I said, the issues that affect, I see everybody is talking about the same thing. And I said, public housing has been a problem for at least half a century. Nobody even knows how to solve the problem. This is the issue. I'm a human factors specialist, quality assurance expert, and risk manager. There is when we establish a system and it doesn't work for a certain period, we evaluate what went wrong, best practices. So this housing issue has been going on for at least 50 years. Nobody has sat on a table to find out what's going on, what went wrong. They keep going to the disaster. So we have too many public housing that can give shelter to every New Yorker and nobody can sleep in the streets. The disaster of people sleeping in the streets is the worst violation of human rights in New York City. The whole world, right now in September, the world is coming to the UN General Assembly. Why does the world come here? Because they come because they have abuses of human rights in their countries. They have gender inequality. They have political persecution. They have poverty. They have homelessness. And they have lack of housing. And here in New York City, we have worse than they have. So what is the point of having New York City that hosts the world's most international organization in the world, where we have most pressing issues are raising in every single day, every single level in New York City? That's why I'm running. I do have a plan how to fix this, because there is no problem that doesn't have a solution once you approach it with a good way. It's nothing wrong with saying we have a problem. The problem is that they keep saying we have nothing, the best city in the world. Really, show it to me. Show it to me. Show it to me. So we have to address one. Yeah, yes, sure. course, please go ahead. Yes. Of course, if someone wants to ask me any question, I can answer this one. You want me to answer? Yeah, of course. Go ahead, Irene. Yes.
Thank you. The reason I'm running for mayor is because we have an issue with fairness. In any election across the city, regardless of what title or election you are running on, you are going to come and confront the objection. The objections are always going to be the media, campaign finances, the board of elections, the people who are helping you, and the moles. So in running campaigns, I've been doing this for a lifetime. You take a look at what can be done to change it, to make it better. Campaign finance is working amazing with all the candidates, but not allowing everyone to participate in the debates is not fairness, because it doesn't matter how much money you raised. It depends on, you already made it on the ballot. It took you this long. We had a primary. People got knocked off. And now, instead of having 3 or 4 people that the media says you're running for mayor, you have 22 people running. So instead of saying we have all these people running, let's give them a fair chance to get the media coverage, they don't. So if you can call for a press conference, you're going to have certain people show up, but they're going to tell you, I can't put that you're running for mayor. I cannot put your title on the bottom. I can add your name, but I can't add the information. I've been an activist in New York City for 45 years. Let me tell you something. Everyone in the city knows me. I'm always on the news. I'm always in the paper. But when it comes to an election, you're segregated and separated and discriminated against. And the racism is real. I'll give you the perfect example. We have community boards, community organizations. They're having their own mayor candidate forums. I was called and told I cannot attend because my polling is not 10%. But I'm the activist in that district that I'm fighting just homes to keep Riker Island's inmates away from 5 schools. I went ahead and won the case with the 2500 Williamsbridge Road. I'm not having a methadone clinic across the street from a school. That took us 3 years to fight. And the fight continues, so you can see my whole history of all my activism. But when it comes to this meeting that they're going to have this Wednesday on the 10th, I cannot participate because my own community tells me I have to be polling 10%. So that means the only person is they're only going to have one candidate show up because other candidates don't want to show. So my concern is that, has it been fair? Absolutely not. Do we continue the fight? Yes. Why? Because if we're running to make it better for the future, then we have to go ahead and conquer that is keeping us from moving forward. That's why I'm running on the conservative line and not on the Democrat line, because I am pro-police. If they don't stand for the values that you stand for, that's going to make the city a greater city, a cleaner city, then that's the problem we have. No, you don't have to poll. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter. Your name is on the ballot. Your name is on the ballot. They have to hear you because you're the voice of the people that signed the petition for you. We are the representatives of the people. So if we're running a democracy, then let democracy flow. Because without no democracy flowing, you continue to obstruct the goodness, the righteousness, and the voice of the people, regardless if you're disabled, a veteran, a senior, a youth. I work with all of them. And I know specifically, we have to fight the fight, but guess what? If we're going to be confronted, when we get confronted, let's all show up. And thank you.
Hey everyone. So I like what you said again, Irene, especially with the media. There was times when I was covered and there was times when I wasn't covered, and I reached out to people and said, hey, I'm running for mayor. I ran for mayor myself. I'm currently running for Queens Borough president. I do wish I did things differently, like starting with city council, but I remember just being so scared for my city and speaking to the people. And you spoke about when I was starting the conservative Rockaway Lighthouse. I was told not to do it. And they said because the local Joan Ariola, this was as from what I heard, that Joan Ariola did not want to support the conservative Rockaway Lighthouse. So yeah, this is why I didn't have the event. I took my Instagram down. I took everything down because somebody told me it was illegal. I could be fined. All of this. So I had to go speak to a lawyer, and I thank God for my resources that I have available to me. And I was told clearly. What's her husband's name? I'm just curious. Wow. So, I mean, but then we see this gatekeeping. It's a gatekeeping. And again, I'm going to tell you, like the way I told you, I'm not afraid of nobody, not in any small way or anything. So, Joan Ariola, your husband, bring it, baby. But let me tell you this, I'm going to do within my freedoms. If that means to run for office, nobody's going to scare me away. If that means for me to open up my own conservative club right here in the neighborhood where everybody, all the business owners, everybody love me and enjoy me around here. I see them every day. I'm speaking with them. So I think that's what it is. And I'm going to reach out to her. I'm definitely gonna reach out when the time is ready, and I'm more ready and equipped to handle it. But I do know about the gatekeeping that does happen. It's big, and people could feel threatened when they see new people come up and they're deciding, I'm gonna be with you, New York, till the day I die. And that's the truth of it. I want to just say again, thank you to DJ Elf, because the DJ Elf, instead of him trying to keep information, he tries to educate people about things on all across the board. And that's what we need to do. We need to get together, not try to push each other out. No matter what party line you're under, we need to speak together, because truly the goal is to innovate this city. Number one, forget the money, forget about popularity, forget about appeasing your mother and your grandmother or whatever the case, because some people get involved in this politics for the wrong reason. And New York City doesn't have time. Like we said, we got people who is in public housing who has lead pipe, and we got babies dying. Look at Gavin Citron. And I've been working with this. Look at people who's went to jail for over 31 years. And I'm talking about Keith Gadsden, thanks to DJ Elf, bringing all these things to visible. And I said, I can help. I'm going to help. Let's help with creating law. Another thing, and I'm going to make this short, is that I want you to think about Sabrina Kawam, who was burnt on that subway train. Everybody want to sit here and say we need more police officers. More police officers. Did you see the police officers panicking back and forth, not knowing that there's a fire extinguisher somewhere, not knowing where that fire extinguisher, because we see them on their phones. Police officers need to know the sites they're at, because Sabrina Kawam is looking at the heroes panic. You're looking at police officers panic while you on fire dying, and they don't even know what to do. The police officers is panic. You see the panic in their eyes. So I need better.
Well, there's no crying in politics. So it's a tough game, and you got to do whatever you can to succeed. I do think that it's a reasonable standard that if you get 5% of the polls, you should be included in the first debate, and then they could take that up to 10% or 20% after that. But I think the biggest barrier to success is in the voters' minds. And I think in the voters' minds, there's too much dependence on familiarity with names they've heard before. So if you think about it, people are like, well, who's going to run for president? Well, it's going to be Michelle Obama. Well, like, why Michelle Obama? She's married to the president. The problem with being an unknown is just to get name recognition, and that's the problem with the voters. It's not a problem with the campaign finance board. I would get rid of matching funds. I don't think it helps. I think it makes it not that helpful. And I think when you jump up from the city council level or the congressional level, now you're running at the citywide level. You really have to have policies that get to 8 million people, and that's the key thing. I think that's not a bad idea. I think that getting on the ballot itself is a good test of your resourcefulness. So if you're on the ballot, you must be doing something right.
Mhm.
But one thing I'll share with you is that being an activist for 45 years, all these elected officials know me, even nationwide. I'm a national activist. So I'm not too concerned what their poll numbers are because they're all fake. So I cannot wait for the election because the people know me in the 5 boroughs comfortably from housing, from public housing. We have fought the developers. They got the no zoning, and that's why they're trying to get rid of all these apartments that are vacant instead of sheltering those that are in shelters because they want to tear them down and build up 20 stories high. So when they tore down all these zoning laws, they tore it down for money. Everyone is getting paid off. Look at Ocasio. Regardless if you make $175,000 a year, now you're making 27 million. The math doesn't add up. What adds up is the corruption. What adds up is that the people's voice is not being listened to. And right now, I can tell you that in January, there was a big fire in the Bronx across everybody in the 5 boroughs saw it. 2910 Wallace Avenue. That's the building I used to live in. I used to live in that building. I was the parent. I was their tenants association president for over God knows how many years. We cleaned out the building from $8 million worth of heroin, $8 million out of crack. The people cleaned the building, not nobody else. So my concern is sharing all this information with you, being an activist and not being heard. I'm not worried about them because you see, the reason I'm not put on the polls, number 1, I'm a woman. Number 2, I'm Latina. And number 3, I'm Mexican American. Those are the hottest issues. And then the other issue is I have everybody on my family that's on the police. So when you take a look at all the things that you need, it's all in me. So when you're looking for a leader, you're gonna look at their life, their history, their work ethic, and what are your results. I come to this race with receipts. I sat down with Eric Adams in February as a minister. I counsel people.
Yeah.
We had a conference table, and I told him, you cannot allow these immigrants to come here because they're not vetted. If they're not vetted, they're going to create chaos, and it's going to be a big problem for you. And look where we're at now. And that's why I'm running for mayor. Because when they don't listen to us and the counsel that we give them, then that means we have to go ahead and step up to the plate because the people are the ones that struggle and suffer because of their consequences.
Oh, I just wanted to mention we still need to hear from 2 of our candidates.
The process itself is discriminatory and racist. First, when I ran as a Republican to collect signatures, as a Republican, there is a problem. We have a partisanship pace. So I am Republican, I can't hear from you anything if you are a Democrat. I am Democrat, you can't cut to me. This is a problem. It was impossible for me to collect signatures from Republicans. I ran as an independent, I was able to collect more than 1,000, my own. I went from borough to borough, neighborhood to neighborhood in the entire New York City. I have been here for 25 years. There are neighborhoods that I've never seen in my life. I went there now to collect signatures. People have issues. There are many issues that people, women in Staten Island, she has many problems. She said to me, we don't even know who to go to. I told her there is at least a board member you can go to. She said, I don't know. So we live they live like in another island. It's outside the city. I am the first candidate who talked about human rights and life quality. They started copying me. They don't even know what human rights are. So people sleeping in the streets, that's the first violation of human rights. So this is the first process, which is discriminatory. And then they allow you, they want you to collect signatures from only Republicans. Hold on a minute. If I succeed as a Republican, am I going to serve only Republicans for me to collect signatures from only Republicans? No, it shouldn't be like that. The system is wrong. I should collect signatures from everybody. That's why when I run as independent, everybody signed from me. When they hear the message from me, this is one. When coming to the signatures, the requirement is to collect 3,750 signatures. I have no idea whether it was a ghost or someone else from another planet who put that number. Impossible. Impossible to collect legitimate signatures, 3,750 from New Yorkers. New York, I was holding a diplomatic visa to work for the UN. So there are many people who are holding diplomatic visa, working visa, special visa, official visa, student visa, and then illegal immigrants. So find someone who is voting as an American citizen and to collect legitimate 3,750 signatures is impossible. I reviewed signatures of Eric Adams and Sliwa. I am witnessing, I took a note. There are very fake signatures. The majority that are companies called me, you give them $5,000 at least. They have a group of people, they sit down, they fake signatures. That's how they collect 49,000 signatures. So now I'm coming to the outrage, public media. Public media have to be one of them. I am a former international civil servant. I'm a linguistic. I lived in 5 continents. I have a big background that others who are serving now, they don't have. I'm not saying better than them, but I have my qualities. But you have to be one of the crowds to be on the media. Nobody cares who you are. The moment you are not from the group, as my colleague said, you have to be one of those, like a kind of who are controlling the government. They can't put you on the list for you to be on the debate or to be covered by media. This is the problem. People have to do their own homework. We have to go for quality, not quantity. For me, I am a personal logic. When I hear a candidate, I go to search. Who is he? Who is she? If they say something that I agree about, if they talk about issues that are affecting me as a New Yorker, I'm going to go and talk to them or try to vote for them. That's how the media should be. That's how the people who are responsible or are in charge of campaign and the debates should be. They have to go to see whoever. This is, as my colleague said, democracy, but we are living dictatorship. The process is a dictatorship process. It's not a democracy process. So we need more coverage. They have to look for us. I'm writing candidates. It's legal. It's legal. So I have to do my own homework to reach out to people. And also, you have to be very rich like them. I don't have to be a billionaire to serve my city and my country. I'm a human being, and I have qualities that maybe billionaires don't have. I have knowledge that maybe billionaires don't have. So we have many New Yorkers who are very good, and they are candidates. They are running. They have to be noticed. Their voices have to be heard. That's how humanity works. Nobody is better than the other one. We should have equality. They talk about it. We are not equal. There is still racism in the process itself. So we have to recognize human beings, whoever they are, whatever their race are, whatever their races are, whatever their backgrounds are. And we don't have this problem. We have nepotism in New York City. We have racism. We have discrimination. We have violations of human rights in every level. In the process itself, whether the government process or even to choose a candidate or an elected official.
Let me put my 2 cents in. It's all about the green. Even the local papers. For example, one of my first races, our town would not cover me. The next race, I advertised. I put 15 advertisers in. Then they did an article on me. The New York Times, New York One, they won't cover me, even though I ran as a Republican on the Upper East Side. It's all about the Benjamins, and the press is like that. The campaign finance board is controlled by the Democrats, and they don't want other candidates in. I think must, if you're in the campaign finance system and you have to abide by their rules, even if you don't make the matching funds, then they should provide at least one debate so people can be heard. And I also know nobody probably remembers this, but in 2001, Michael Brown ran for public advocate. He spent $5,000. He got 10% of the vote. He beat two people in the race that made matching funds, maximum matching funds with high profile names. So he was able to get his name out there through a couple means, but he was excluded from the debate. I would bring that up to the campaign finance board. You let people on the debate stage, and they got like 6-7%. Michael Brown, that spent $5,000, didn't make the debate stage and got 10%. So what are you talking about? That's what we have to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Just like,
I mean, there are times
all
that I can tell you that when I have a press conference, I'll have everybody show up, every single media, everybody, everyone will show up. They're all mobbing all over us. But for the one that we had at City Council, at the steps of City Hall, that one surprised me because I will always get a few or all of them, and I did not even get one because during that time, it was 2 hours before Eric Adams went ahead and had his press conference, which I didn't know he was going to have one. But it shows you that there is a lot of it's not nepotism. It's government is dirty, and this is how it plays. And if you're going to play the game, you got to play it well. So we learn from our lessons, and we move forward to making sure we conquer whatever is before us.
well, like I said, it's the same. The media is part of the problem because they will not cover certain people. Like for example, when all the yeah, I agree, Ed. But yeah, the media knows who I am. You know how many people will call me for quotes or background on different things because they know I'm involved in politics. But when I run for office, zip, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been involved in politics since '92.
I wanted to say something too, and I got to see the election process over in Finland where the government does give funding as long as that person has 2% of some kind of vote. They do get a lot of funding, and depending on if it's state or local level, they do receive funding, and that is to fight corruption. That's to make sure that they get a candidate who is a real candidate for the people. And I mean, I think we haven't done our due diligence on making sure that corruption stops with the government because it fuels our current government. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, there's corruption at the campaign finance board.
Oh,
We
big
do
time.
have a system in New York City, so and it hasn't worked.
Big-
It's just gotten worse ever since. I actually supported the campaign finance board before it started, but and I've been a treasurer on a number of accounts. I despise the campaign finance board, and it needs to be abolished because it is controlling elections.
Mhm.
I will tell you that I am joyfully excited running my campaign with $800. I am not going to run and make myself crazy trying to raise $250,000, which I can, and then multiply it times 8, which is I can. But my concern is if it's a grassroots campaign, why would you need the green? Because once you start taking money from other people, that means you are their puppet. You are under their control. Como took money from the landlords. We're fighting landlords for the negligence of these buildings not being taken care of. The building in 2019, Wallace, negligent, burned down to the ground. Now we got 300 people who are in shelters, who are hardworking New Yorkers. Absolutely not. So no. Huh? Oh, that's with $800. Sure, let me go ahead and sign you up. No. Listen. Well, one thing I came in the race late only because the candidate from the Conservative Party changed his mind and they picked me up. Am I excited to be in the race? Absolutely. People know me. They know that I'm a woman of miracles. God is with me. There's nothing that I cannot do without God. So God put me in the race. I'm excited. I can't wait for the results. But would I, and then at another time, would I have to raise money? I wouldn't mind raising the money. I know a lot of big wigs that have money. I can make a phone call. But you know what? I don't have a problem if they give money. Nope, I don't have a problem.
Oh, I declined to participate in the matching funds program because I thought it was corrupt. So we got 90,000 votes in the primary, spending about $15,000. Jennifer Rajkumar got 160,000 votes, spending $1 million. You might as well have just taken that money and put it to better use. I agree with Mr. Zumbakis that the campaign finance board system has got too much potential for corruption. There may be actual corruption, and that it should be abolished.
Yes. In terms of this, yes, as I agree, I already said that the campaign finance board is very corrupt. As I said, the system is really wrong and corrupt. And meantime, as I said, is racist. Everyone who registers to run for office, this is democracy, should have at least a symbolic budget from the city to start with. No, all what I agree, I need actually before matching funds, it's very difficult. You have to raise certain amounts of money to get qualified. And that's actually, it's impossible. What I'm saying, the system should be set up otherwise in a different way. Say, for example, everyone who registers to vote, yes. No, before going to that lower amounts. Sorry, yeah. Okay. Thank you. I am in two sides. The first one is to get a symbolic budget for every single citizen who registers to be elected for office. I mean, to run for office. Symbolic budget, say through $2,000 or $5,000, between $2,000 and $5,000 to start with. Now, when it comes to matching funds, shouldn't be any minimum. Everyone who registered for office should be qualified for matching funds. I don't have to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for me to be eligible for matching funds. So no eligibility should be without minimum, and also there should be a symbolic budget for every single candidate who registers to run for office to start with. I shouldn't be worrying about money while I have really a work plan to, yeah, to do the job. Do you understand what I mean? We think about money more than the work. Yes, yeah.
Hey DJ, it's actually 12
It is
times
too
for New York
exaggerated. It
State
doesn't
and,
mean anything. It's illogic. It's illogic. It's very illogic.
I said the matching funds is 12 times for New York State Senator and State Assembly. 12 times. I already said I think the whole system, I'm not saying it's corrupt because that's a defined term. I say there is the potential appearance of corruption, and that loosens the confidence of the public in the participants in the system. So I'm not in favor of any matching funds, and I am in favor. I spent a long time living in England. I think you just have a limit on what should be spent on campaigns, because when I ran against AOC, she spent $8 million for 20,000 votes, which is $400 per vote, which is the highest total per vote in the history of running for Congress. And this is in a district where $8 million would go an awfully long way, which is the South Bronx and Northern Queens. So I think the system that they've got in Europe, where even if the state is putting aside, $50,000 for each campaign to spend, or $100,000 for each campaign to spend, I think that's having a much more modest system equalizes the playing field.
Also the system in Maine. Maine has a similar system.
Yeah, then it's politics. Mike, I agree with you. Then that's politics for the people. That's what you need to get back to, because it turns into a money game. So I have never done what's called call time. There's a thing called call time where they lock you in a room and you can't get off the phone. And what a waste of time. I thought the CFB thing, the matching funds, was a complete waste of time. And I've seen, like I've said, you don't have to have actual corruption, although I think there may be actual corruption. If there's the appearance of the possibility of corruption, then you lose confidence in the system. And as a society, we need to do everything to build confidence in our system.
So in some ways, I see if you drive that 12 for a grassroots campaign, I don't see nothing wrong with it, because maybe this is a new candidate to where they may need 12 times for the state if they just thought about it. Again, I'm thinking or 8 times as per us. So I think it's good for our new candidates for sure, but I think as per our old candidates who ran time and time again and who has collected public funding time and time again, you had your chance and opportunity to do all you could have done with your 8 times that money. And I think after some time that should expire. I think for the first time somebody starts with campaign board, I think they should get that 8 times because they're new to the game. But if you've been 8 times and again, it should only be 1 per office. Like we got to limit it in some way. And
see, the problem is most of that money goes to political consultants who also are basically they lobbyists too. So they run the people's campaign, get paid lots of money, and then they lobby the same people they got elected.
And that's like a fuel for that kind of fire. That's a fuel for that kind of corruption.
Absolutely.
And I think, and I love that you said that, Mrs. Umbliski. I hope I pronounced that
Mike's
right.
fine.
Mike,
Mike's fine.
nice to meet you. So I'm glad you brought that up, because it's like they know, like the board knows, hey, they're gonna get this person or that person. It's like giving these big political strategists more money. It's like that's a way for you to go.
No, I don't have a problem with campaign finance. Their liaisons are excellent, but there is a lot of room for corruption anytime you deal with money. Absolutely. One thing that I would like to say that, Mike is correct. When you talk about all these political consultants and all this lobbying, when you take a look at where they spent their money, most of their money spent on these particular items. If I am a candidate and I call a poll company and pay them $1 million to go ahead and give me a poll on the mayor's race, who's going to win? I am, because I'm the one that's paying the poll company $1 million. So do I believe in polls? Exactly, but but the thing is that that's just an example that, listen, everyone can use whoever they're going to use, but at the end of the day, it's November the 4th that's going to matter, because that's when the people can go out there and vote and make sure that they vote for people who are grassroots, who they've seen in their communities for years, who have given them receipts of what they've done and what they haven't done. And all these people who are running with money, they haven't done nothing. They have to prove that they haven't done anything. Mandani has no receipts of community organizations, of running youth programs like I had with the NYPD, who was put for the police and trying to bring protection to our communities. Never done a cleanup in the park. Never went to the trains to take care of the people who have mental health. I deal with people who are the fires. You know who showed up? Only one person showed up to help me with the people from 2019 Wallace, and that was Mayor Eric Adams. I stood between him and the people and said they're not going to shelters. They're going to go to a hotel, and they stayed there until May. And now those working hard people are trying to find another avenue for their life, because they'll never be able to go back to their building. You know why? Because the landlord not only negligently burned down the building, but now he's trying to build 20 stories high. So that means that they're never going to come back to their building. So we have an accountability to be honest to our people, to show them the receipts of where you've been and how you've been, and to make sure that all these conversations we're having about the political tactics get stopped. Because you're absolutely right, Michael and Van Del Valle, we all have a concern with the corruption. The corruption stops when the people in the city say, you know what? It has to be fixed. It's up to us to do it. We have to be responsible voters and responsible candidates and responsible people in the city to be the voice for the communities. Thank you.
Yes, please try not to interrupt me. Yes, thank you. The money is so wrong, the money condition. We, as I said, about humanity and democracy and about knowledge. So if we want to serve humanity, they should put this condition of you need millions of dollars to run for office. And at the end of the day, as many colleagues said, there is nothing done by those who run for office, like say whether assembly members or candidates for whether mayors or governors. They run with millions of dollars. At the end of the day, they cannot even serve or at least establish a policy that will cost them at least $1,000. They can't. So what I am saying is we should have like a symbolic budget coming for every candidate for office from the campaign finance board itself. And we shouldn't put a minimum. No, we should focus on what the candidate says, what the candidate wants to do for the public, for the people. This establishment of money policy, whatever or condition, has been done for so long. You have to run for office, you have to be a millionaire, but it didn't serve us anything. Well, it didn't serve us for anything. So we have. Well, I didn't finish my sentence. Yes, but I have to finish my sentence. What I am saying, this condition of millions of dollars, we cannot just follow the crowd. We have to sit down and we have to convince the campaign finance board and the Board of Elections that we don't need this condition because it's impede me and you and the New Yorkers who are from the public to run for office. So it keeps only exactly
Yeah.
candidacy, the candidacy
No.
is only fixed and set up for them. So this is wrong.
City council writes the rules for the campaign finance board.
So we have to go for that. We have to go to the source of the problem. Thank you so much. We have to go to start from there. We have to start from there and change the process. This way we have a human person, somebody who is in the office, whether a city council or assembly member or a mayor or a governor, who is human, who is humanized, who can think about us, who can solve our problems. Not a money person, not a money person, not a millionaire, not a billionaire, a human being.
I'm sorry. I like that Michael said that we have to do it from city council. So that means whoever gets into city council, but it's like, are they going to do that? Because they're going to run again and they're going to want those matching funds. So we need somebody who's transparent enough to make the change. Thank you. Absolutely, DJL.
The other way to change some of the rules of the campaign finance board is to do a ballot initiative. That can also change it. That's why we bring it to the people and get their ideas on it. But it's not going to be it's going to be one of those issues that most people ignore because they have no clue how the system actually runs.
Yeah.
Well, and if I can jump in, I don't know what time we're going to, but I feel like an important question for anyone watching this debate is, if they're watching and they're thinking, who between these people am I going to choose to vote for this coming November? And I feel like looking at the polling data, I know, like Irene, it's not always correct, but if I talk to people on the streets, I imagine a lot of them are thinking, how am I going to put food on the table this morning? Or, like I said, I'm in a whole different world where there's homeless people. I mean, we can't let that happen up here in Alaska, otherwise they're going to freeze to death. So it's a whole different world for me, but I feel like I should ask, say, someone's wondering what you're going to do once you get the office after November, you win the election. What are you going to do to improve the economy? Is there something that the city can invest in? Is there a way that the city needs to get out of the way? There's certainly instances for the city of Kotzebue to do that. Obviously, like I said, a whole different world. We got $3 million. I imagine the New York City has a lot more. So I'm wondering, what would you do as mayor of New York to help increase the economic viability of the community? Because economics is all about getting resources where it's not. And I feel like a lot of people feel like our current economic system isn't working.
Well, one thing is, as being elected mayor on November the 4th, the first thing that has to be done is the issue with crime. We have to take care of the public safety first in order to have a safety city, so that tourists and other people will want to come to the city. That's number one. And the crime has to go ahead and match up with the public safety. The other one is making sure that our police officers are taken care of, because their mandate is to make sure that they're taken care of so that we can have a happy New York and a healthier and a safer one. But when it comes to the economics, there's a couple of things that are really hurting New York City within the whole. Easy Pass, congestion prices, and Con Edison. Listen, you get a ticket from Easy Pass, and all of a sudden, instead of your ticket being $10.99, you're gonna get a letter that your DNV is being suspended for $3,000, and then they go to a third party company, and then they don't want to negotiate and tell you, well, for that $10 ticket, you're gonna pay $1,500. How is that? How is that a bargain? So it's not encouraging people to go into the city, to go and shop, to go ahead and go to Broadway shows, to enjoy themselves, because the first thing you're going to think about is that these particular blocks are blocked off because we're going to get congestion prices. It's creating a lot of havoc for real New Yorkers who are on a budget. Not everybody's a $1 million person in New York City. That's number one, with Easy Pass and congestion prices.
Easy Pass is owned by a Chinese company, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. But whose fault is that? New York. So then we also have the housing affordable issue. There's no affordable issue when it comes to housing, and it's not going to get better. I don't know if you're taking a look at Congress writing bills on the Project 2025. They want to go ahead and pick certain cities in the United States, and they're going to go ahead and do what they want to do to make an experiment on how to be sustainable and livable without any of these other things that we're already used to living with. Transportation, groceries, housing, buildings. So you got to take a look at and keep up with what Congress is doing, because on a federal level, it's going to affect state and local level. Bringing the economy better after we get rid of the congestion prices, even if it's just for 6 months, so that people can get back on the, on their budgets back again, a time to restore some of their money that they have lost. It's going to be a challenge, but it can be done. The other thing is, take a look at the youth. How do we go ahead and bring the youth into programs? Is that we live in an instant world of gratification. Everybody wants everything 1, 2, 3. Nobody wants to work and go through the process. So in order for us to do that, we have to have technology and more resources for them to get their attention, and not only about civil organizations and working, but having an economy where the people in small businesses go ahead and hire youth, and they can get an incentive because they're taking the kids off the street to make sure they're learning about business, learning about maintaining themselves. We did that a lot with Junior Achievement. You have to have businesses adopt youth at a young age in the schools, so they can learn how about Wall Street, about mechanics, about sewing, or whatever it might be. Every business has a talent, and it's up to them to go ahead and participate and get incentives to bring the youth out of their issues, so they can see how they can be a champion in their own lives, because they're young, and they can be. You can have all the education in the world, but if you can't balance a checkbook, and if you can't change a tire, and if you don't know how to cook, and you don't know how to pay your bills on time, how is that molding you ready for a world of success? We have to give them an opportunity to learn all the skill sets that are going to give them a life full of structure. Because if we structure them and discipline them, they're going to be successful. And then they're going to come back and mentor more. So me as a mentor for youth for so many years, this is what we do. We empower them. The same knowledge that I'm giving to you, I give to them. And we go ahead and conquer one block at a time, but it works. It works, and I have nothing but receipts. We just went to a rally recently this week, and I saw a lot of the youth from my school when they were in middle school, 7th and 8th graders. They go, Miss Irene, I'm an entrepreneur because of you. I am in civil organizations because of you. I am following you because I want to be like you. When you mentor youth, you're going to go ahead and empower them to take care of their own block, no matter where you live in the United States. Because the first thing I tell kids at school, you must learn the law of the land. Because if you don't learn the law of the land, you can break it. And then you know what? That's your freedom. So we want to empower the kids. Learn the law. The same book that is given there for the police department is there for the Explore program, is there for different organizations to empower the youth to make sure they don't go to jail, to empower them to make sure that what's the difference between a felony and a misdemeanor? What's the difference between hanging out with good friends and bad friends? You give them the option, but you also mention the consequence. So I'm excited about bringing great ideas to the table, but I also know that as mayor of New York City, it's the agencies that are underneath me that I have to make accountable, that I have to make sure that they're getting the resources that they need, and not to be wasteful. I want to report what are you spending and what you have done with the money, because it's not $750,000 a banquet. Who are you feeding? Because you're not feeding the poor. because you're not feeding the people in the community. So my thing is that if we stop the wastefulness of the city agencies, we can move that money towards the goal to go ahead and make sure that the melting pot of the world, New York City, will not only be the greatest city in the world and the greatest place to be in capital, but also economically, mentally, physically, and spiritually will be kept, because we have to be New Yorkers that care, because this is where we live. This is our home, and this is where we're going to go ahead and breed.
Absolutely, and I really appreciate your line about having to keep the government accountable. I feel like you could have been talking to the city of Kotzebue here, and very much like what you said.
But it's true, because you know what? When you give me that report for the Board of Education, and I love the Board of Education. I work for the Board of Education, and when we have children from all over the world, they come with different languages, but each of those children get their own special para, their own special person that speaks to them in their own language until they're strong enough to go ahead and be on their own. See, people don't know how the Board of Education works, that we have strong people who love kids, who we're raising them, and we want to go and empower them. But at the same time, let's teach these parents how to be parents, because you still got to show up at a PTA meeting. It's not the teacher's job to go ahead and make sure that your son or your daughter does their homework. It's your responsibility.
The problem is that the city spends over $31 billion on our city school system. You realize that there's only 67 nations in the world that spend more on their national budget. The city budget is $115 billion.
That's right.
There's only 30 countries in the world that spend more than New York City. We spend more than the country of Israel with the same population. If you don't think I just retired from the city DOT, and I worked for a couple agencies. If you don't think there's waste everywhere and problems, then we can cut tons and tons of money and redirect it in a much better way. And we're not doing that.
And you know what's the greatest thing about being on this debate with DJ Elf and all of you people who are empowered, is that it's time for a woman to be mayor, and it gets to be me. So I'm excited. I'm excited because you know what? We have an obligation not only to one another, but we open the doors for communication and to make sure that we're getting the most professional people, consultants that are not going to be charging us, so much that we have to concentrate on the bottom, the children, from the top, so we can mold them so we can have a greater New York. And Michael, you're absolutely correct. There's a lot of waste to everything. But you know what? My dream here in the city is to have the cleanest trains and the cleanest city, because it's about time that we go ahead and start living the excellent life that God called us to live in New York City. We have to be the example.
But the problem is the MTA is not controlled by the mayor. The MTA is its own organization. It is a non-government agency.
Private entity.
They have it's not technically a private industry. It is quasi-governmental. And the mayor has very little control over it. The governor has some control, but not that much. And it's a multi-state agency. So when you look at it, you have to go with that approach and figure out how to do it. A lot of people say things, but they're not, they don't understand the actual how the system works and how you have to go.
And you're absolutely right. So that's why I have your number. I'm calling you.
Not a problem.
I think we'd like to hear from our two other candidates, unless Mike, you have anything else to add?
No, I'm not running this year, so.
Oh, I see. How about Bermuda? Your hand raised. I think I said your name wrong. I'm sorry. And you're muted.
Fatima, you're muted.
Fatima, that's how you say. Thank you.
You're muted.
You all hear me?
Okay.
Can you
There
hear
you
me?
go.
Yep.
I'm answering you, Josh. Yes, you asked a question. So I would start as a mayor by cleaning the city, as I said, cleaning the subway stations, fixing the transportation system, things that we deal with on a daily basis. Make sure we have a good transportation system, and also try to start with prices. First, the price of the transportation, it's just too much to have like $3. Maybe we can reduce it, not for free, no, just reduce the price that is affordable to us, to the average New Yorkers. Food prices, beverage prices, and the prices of housing. It's illogic. We don't have a logic. Every landlord or building has prices like that. You have the same type of one bedroom in the same borough. It's different. Here it's 2,500. That is 3,500. So we have to have a fixed price. And also somebody has to do an evaluation. Average of New Yorkers, how much money do they get per month? That's how quality of life is. Then we can calculate, okay, how many housing, those people work. They are actually raising the economy in the city. We make sure they have affordable housing. They don't have to live in affordable housing. Say the average New Yorker earns $4,000 a month. We make sure the budget of the house is something affordable and logic for them. So affordable housing starts by that. Even we do, as I said, they don't have to live in affordable housing. Then we have to go to education. We start with kindergarten. Many moms and pops, they have to have a big budget to leave their kids in kindergarten. It's like you have to be so rich to leave your kids in kindergarten. It's too much, like more than $2,000 a month. It's like half a salary. If I am a mom and I need $2,000, I'm not a mom yet, but I hope to become once. I'm a wife. And I need $2,000 for kindergarten. I need $3,000 for one bedroom. And I need $5,000 of food. So I need I need a salary of $10,000. It's too much. So it's working like that. It's like I worked to B1 for 20 years. When somebody just wants to solve a problem, they open the computer and they say, where is Syria? Right here. They don't even know Syria. And they want to solve a problem in the Middle East without even going there to see how people live there. It's crazy. We have to talk to people. We have to make an evaluation. I said prices, affordable housing, and then mental health. Mental health, everybody's talking about it. Those people who are in the streets are not crazy. There are veterans. There are people who serve our nation. There are people who pledge loyalty to our flag. There are people, even just as regular citizens. Mental health starts by speaking to those people, making them feel that they are humans. Put them in a certain decent, clean place and talk to them. Mental health starts with that. So mental health, and they take them to, and then, as I said, when they take them to the shelter is worse than a prison. Prison in Germany is like a first-class hotel, 5 stars. So everything is abuse. We have abuse in everything. You go to government office, you get treated so badly. We need the quality of service. We need a humanized system, whether to deal with a normal person like you and me and all of us, or with homeless people. Shelters. Why? Homeless, I spoke to some because I'm running for office. Many of them, they prefer to sleep in the street than to be in the shelter. They talk to them so badly. They get their belongings stolen. They get beaten. The others are fighting with them. And even the people who are working in the shelter, they hate them. They treat them worse than animals. So how could people stay in the shelter? I am a normal person. I go to government office, sometimes to the post office. Nobody even smiling to me. The woman who wants to serve me in the post office wants to beat me. She doesn't like me. So we have this problem. We need human principles to increase in New York City after making housing affordable. It doesn't have to be, as I said, affordable, matching the budget of the average New Yorkers, because 60 to 70% of New Yorkers are middle class. If to rent an apartment in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, or Staten Island, or Bronx, they ask me to make 40 times rent. I don't understand it. 40 times rent, if the apartment is $2,800, 40 times rent, who earns it? 70% of New Yorkers are middle class. Nobody makes 40 times rent. So if you don't have a good house, you can't have a good life. This is one. And then crimes. Crimes start with home. I saw moms drinking and smoking marijuana in front of children. That's the worst. If a child sees mom and pop are smoking next to them, or I saw a mom dragging a kid like an animal. So we have to start by educating parents to reduce crimes. We need a committee. I'm going to form a committee. Nobody is perfect. We have to go and talk, maybe committee in every community, educate parents how to deal with their kids so they don't grow up as criminals or with grudge or with hate to use crimes. Now, from the other side of reducing crimes, some people don't want to, some youth don't want to go to university. Create technical schools. We need a committee that goes to every high school. If somebody said, okay, parents don't have money to afford university, okay, every community should have a very affordable technical school. Maybe a high school student wants to become a mechanic, maybe wants to become just to work in a hotel. We make sure we have a technical school that gives him or her skills to work somewhere. Maybe we have interpretation school. We have to create the systems. We don't have them in New York. I lived in 5 continents. I know these things. I worked in the most international organization in the world, United Nations. I've heard things. I dealt with projects. There are many projects like that. We don't have them in New York City. We have just basic, you have to follow the crowd. I am obliged to become a doctor. No, I'm not. Maybe I want to become an architect. And they need all the facilities. I don't need a big budget. Maybe I can start with having a small school in my community that allows me to be a designer. Then from there, when I make money, when I start working with that degree that cost my parents only $2,000 instead of $20,000, I make money. Then I can pay for further education, higher education, then I can become an architect. So we have to do level steps for people to grow. So this is how the governance is. Governance is just not taking what others were doing. No, doing your own. And as I said, I want to study everything that has been happening in New York City. Like our colleague said, the problem of the campaign finance board is coming from city council. Okay, I'm going to go to the city council, see those rules that have been written for more than 50 years and they didn't work. Change them. Change them. It's time to reform. We need to reform in everything that didn't work.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate what you said about how we treat homeless people when, you know, a lot of these people are veterans reading Adam Smith
or
with
maybe
their
people
moral
who
sentiments.
have good brain. Yes.
He makes the point like if someone's
they
hungry.
are brilliant people.
Yeah, Adam Smith, he makes the point if someone's hungry, they're gonna act deplorable. I mean,
How can they be
like
treated
the
if you
question was
treat them so badly?
what's someone good? Yeah, what's someone gonna do? Like when the question is like, how are they gonna put food on the table? And it's really difficult, as you said, if they don't live a good home life, and it's impossible if you can't afford it. We want to hear from Vaughn before.
I have to add one thing, very quick.
Yeah.
Then they don't have a system. Say, for example, the shelter system doesn't work because nobody has the brain. Shelter system should be, say, for example, we are collecting 100 homeless from this neighborhood. Okay, I make sure somebody is taking control and putting a note. Those 100, I make sure they don't stay in the shelter more than 3 months. After 3 months, they have to go to a home. These people need a home. You can't put them in a shelter forever. So they put them in a shelter. So okay, we dealt with the problem. No, that's a transition, like a transit airport. We put them there for 3 months, and during those 3 months, they get treatments, they get attention, and I would ask this homeless, what do you want to do? What do you want? I'm going to study. I need just a home to be rest. Okay, to rest. Are you single? Yes, I can. I make sure there is a committee that finds a studio for them, affordable, and then this way we continue lives. Yes.
We just had a stab at
You know what? You know, if I can share with that, is that my father is, I'm a daughter to a veteran. And working with veterans all these years for a lifetime, many of them do not want to go to a shelter. Many of them don't want to be homed. They don't want to be housed. They want to be left alone. Now, dealing with the shelters.
Yeah,
Now,
very simple.
Dealing with the shelters, they transition according to their needs. If you're complying with the shelters, they're going to help you find an apartment according to your family size or your single or whatever your needs are. The reason a lot of these shelters are having backlog is that we're having too many fires across the city. Not just one person family losing their apartment. In the Bronx, especially, we're having 300 people from one building, 200 from another building, and every family has different needs. Some children have autism, some people are disabled, some people have mental illness. And you're absolutely right. Everybody goes into different categories, but the transition time takes long because the backlog, number one, HPD number two, and then when you go through all these housing specialists, many of the times it's women who are the social workers are so backlogged and exhausted that they can't see straight anymore. So working with all these things on a daily basis or for years, I can tell you that they are making an effort to make it better, but it's not better because the shelters are in so worse condition. Full of mold. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is
Well,
exactly what I was saying.
Vaughn hasn't spoke for a while. He has his hand up.
Just quick thing, just to add because I did you raised your issue. I'm sorry for you. I sympathize with you. That's what I'm saying. The system is broken and the process is broken. That's what I'm saying. The system or the process of dealing with homeless people is totally wrong. That's how it should be. The shelter should be just a transition.
One thing I want to say here, and I want to say to the people who are running for mayor of this city, you know, I have I've been in the homeless, the part of being homeless. I know how that feels. I know how it feels to you're gonna portray a scary character in order for people to, I had to pretend like I was gonna hit this guy in the head with a fire extinguisher. And you got to do what you got to do. I don't care regardless of what anybody says. If you're not in those shoes, you ain't really gonna know. All you're gonna have is things that you think is gonna be good for that situation. You ain't gonna really know what the situation is. And the same thing with the mental health thing, what's happening in our hospitals. I told them I got in there one time. I said, listen, I'm running for mayor. They said, we got to take you to the other side. They took me to the other side after I told them I was running for mayor, after I got hurt on my finger. And the lady thought I was bugging out. So they ended up, and I'm like, you guys crazy. They ended up giving me some kind of medication. They wake me up 3 hours later. They're like, oh my gosh, okay. They didn't say anything, but they said you can go. So you gave me a medication that's supposed to put me out. And now you found out I'm actually running for mayor. So I know that firsthand as well. And I'll deal with that situation much later, but this is a real situation that happened. one thing I really want to say, a lot of us keep talking about how we're going to get more money. We're going to give more money to the people. We're going to get more money. We're going to make it easier for people to live in the city. Let's just start with high school education. Most of these high schoolers, I'm the youngest one here. I just had to deal with this. I'm the most foolish one to have had to deal with high school education. And let me tell you, we were all scared. We did not know what was going to happen after high school was done. All we knew was our parents didn't have it like that, and we had to get it together right here and right now. And most of us were scared. So what we need to implement in our high school educations, as Irene was saying, we have a bunch of businesses and local businesses that can help take on these high schoolers for summer education programs to tell them or show them the business. Let's get them directly involved with other businesses and with internships that could possibly pay them after a 2-month internship or after a month of giving some time. Kids are scared. It's not that people want to live off benefits and get vouchers and all this shit. No, what the people really want is a fair chance to make money. Period. They want to live regular, happy lives. They want if they want the opportunity to go into a college and get a college education, then so be it. We can possibly provide a 2-year education for free at one of our local coonies. But before we put our children up in these coonies, which are fueling a pipeline from college to socialism, we see it with my money. They're trying to get all these students as socialists. Let's let them use their own minds. We're teaching them the wrong thing. Let's teach them about science, technology, environments, and education. We're teaching them the wrong thing, okay? And then let's get some of these students to the point of, if I live in East New York, I could get a job at the airport. Cool. I could also get a voucher for a security guard license, so I could start by doing that. We need to bring the resources to them. Also, we have film and movies that come here. Let's help them with production, and we do have a program. Let's get them into production assistant. Let's get them paid, bro, so we could get this tax money. You feel what I'm saying? Then we ain't gonna have people hopping turnstiles and stealing and selling drugs. Now, trust me, you give these kids what they need, we're going to see crime is going to stop. 2017, 2018, life was great, bro. Like, life was great. I always fought and worked hard. You understand what I'm saying? So we really need to make things that make sense with people who know the problems, who just went through the problem. If you don't know the problem, you can only assume how a person in that shoe is going to be, period. So
That's right.
But what nobody mentioned that affects both housing and jobs is illegal immigration. Yes, I call it illegal immigration because it is. Because most of the jobs, I put myself through college working 35 to 45 hours washing dishes. An American citizen cannot get that job now. It's all going to illegal immigrants or being abused and underpaid. Housing. We don't have the infrastructure to house our own people, never mind the illegal immigrants. And that's one of the things we need to talk about and needs to be addressed. And on the homeless stuff, if you guys want to contact me, I'm not going to go here. I have a homeless policy that I designed that addresses most things. I have a number of other issues. You can also go to my website and look at that, electmikez.com, and you'll see a lot of issues there. And you're allowed to take anything from there. I don't care.
I'm definitely going to reach out. And I just want to say this about Michael. And I want to see everybody do this. Start creating your own policies for if and when you're ready for when it's time to get in and swear you in. You're ready. You already have the plan laid out, down pat, education initiatives, everything. Because I think accountability is so important. And we need to start creating and writing and getting people on board and being like, hey, do you like this? Whatever. I'm working on education. I'm working on a few things. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes.
My last statement is that my name is Irene Estrada. I'm running for mayor of New York City. You can find me on Instagram at Irene for NYC. I'm also on Facebook. But my greatest accomplishments that I have in running for mayor of New York City is my receipt from political, economic, social injustices, from mental, physical, spiritual, financial, and emotionally support for our communities for the last 45 to 43 years. Being a mother to NYPD police officers, a sergeant, and detective. My grandkids are on the job. I'm the Police Women Endowment Association spiritual advisor. I am here to not only reform New York, make the greatest city in the world, but bringing quality of life issues that matter to us. We have an accountability to bring all the agencies underneath the mayor's office into accountability to make sure that you can go to work and live in peace, knowing that you have a leader that's going to support you and make sure that your injustices will be taken care of. In running for mayor of New York City, we look to for your vote on November the 4th. It's very important. I will be the woman on the ballot on the conservative line, and I will be the first woman mayor of New York City. So it's my greatest blessing to be here with DJ Elf and all the other people and other candidates. And I encourage you to get out to vote on November the 4th because it's your responsibility to make sure it is done. And thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
You want me to do that?
Yeah.
You go with the line. Okay.
Okay, cool. Guys, I listed here in the chat. If you guys are working on anything, all of my candidates here, please send me an inbox. I'm working with everybody. DJ Elf has totally solidified some great principles for me, and that's working with everybody. We all need to work together, especially on my education initiative. I have a few things that I'm working with, and I have my website listed here, adventureairholding.wixsite.com. I do articles and things like that. My Instagram's not up, but shoot me an email. It's right there if you can show it some way, somehow, and come to my website, check it out. I'm willing to do an article about any one of you guys and what you're doing. Check it out there. Thank you so much for the opportunity, DJ L. You're a great person, and I thank you so much.
Who? Me? Okay. My name, as I said, Fatima Zoranwino. I'm a former UN employee of the United Nations for 2 decades. And I traveled the world. I lived in 5 continents. And my target is, in my mission to become a mayor, is human rights, gender equality, justice, and peace. And my logo of my campaign is faith, family, and freedom. I want to preserve all the principles of life. And my campaign is about making New York City clean, safe, and modern again. I am on social media. As soon as you put Fatima Zoranwino, you can get my Facebook, my LinkedIn, my YouTube channel, my Instagram, and my Twitter, and which is X, and also my Truth Social. And I am also, if you want to see the questions I answered on my profile on Ballotpedia website, please go ahead. And if you message me on any of these platforms of social media, you can hold me. I'm not like preventing people from messaging me directly. You can send me a message, and then I'll give you my phone number, and we can chat check-in, and I'm trying to hold some events within the next 2 months. I'm running as a writing candidate, which means when you go to the polling sites, you get the ballot. There is a side desk. I'm not on the ballot on the list, so there is a side there which is a legal one. Writing candidate. You write my name exactly, Fatima Zohran Mino, as it is on social media. Make sure you have it with you, and then you vote for me. And as I said, I focus on cleaning the city, housing, education, human rights, justice, family values, principles, and also job. One thing I want to take care of is that, as I said, working for the UN here in New York City, going to the field and coming back, world students come to the UN and to study in New York City to gain knowledge. Those people who come from other countries to New York City, they go back to their countries, they become senators, ambassadors, they lead their nations. And we have people coming to New York City to get educated from royalty level to regular level. And our New Yorkers don't do that. I'm going to focus on international education. Make sure every high school gets a certain quantity of students who want to go to other countries to study, gain another language, another experience, and come back. Education is the key to civilization, and having a home is the key to happiness, and humanity is a way for harmony. That's my message.
Fatima,
Please
one
vote for
thing,
me.
just let people know, you also have to check the box in the upper left-hand corner, not just write your name in, because if you don't check the box, that's what the scanner's going to look at, is if there was a check in that box.
Thank you so much. That's a good point. Thank you, my colleague. Yes, once you write my name on the ballot, make sure check the box on the top. This way the scanner can see my name there going on as a writing candidate. Thank you. I'm glad to have been here and have answered some questions, and also have discussed with you a lots of very important appealing issues. And I'm also open to any debate, any discussion, any invitation. Please get in touch with me.
All I'm going to say is I'm not running this year, but everybody watching this, go out and talk to your family and friends and tell them it's your if you don't like what's going on, it's your responsibility to go out and vote. Just go in. You don't have to be a policy wonk and follow politics, like all 70% of my waking hours. But at least go in and, do some hour research for every weekend on the different candidates and decide who you're going to vote on.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, DJ L7 for putting this on. Like Mike, I'm not running for election this year, but I will next year. I appreciate being able to, living in Kotzebue, that I could easily get on the radio or get something written in the Arctic Sounder. But I gotta say, I have a big deficit online, and I really appreciate you filling that void, and certainly educating the voters on the fact that we have alternative choices on the ballot, and you're the media that's showing people that, hey, we have a different path for you if you don't like what you're seeing on corporate media. So check out our candidates, and the election is November 4th. Certainly think about who you're going to vote for, and hopefully the voters make the right decisions.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel Mayor.